Shark Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com, off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And I got a question from a subscriber, and he wanted to know, let's see, why do I think Japanese women move to America from Japan, and what are all the pros and cons of them being or living in America? Shit. Japanese women move to America because they have more freedom in America. Straight up. Look, I mean, if a Japanese girl moved here, I don't care if she came in for school, she came in for work, however she goes about trying to find a way to get over here, she can do what the fuck she want to do without anybody looking over her shoulder. Her parents won't be asking, hey, where's your husband? Or where are my grandkids at? You know, because if you know anything about Japan, the parents put a lot of pressure on the women to get married and have kids, because the mother, she wants grandkids. So, I mean, now a lot of Japanese girls, they don't see it this way. They don't think they have a lot of freedom when they come to America, but they do. Trust me. So, when she come over here, you know, first her longevity, as far as her being on the market, dating, is much longer than Japan. See, in Japan, once these girls turn 25, their stock goes down. You know, Japanese guys set the bar high in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't, if she's overweight or fat, she out. If she got tattoos, she out. If she talk too much, she out. If she grew up poor, she out. If her skin is too dark, in some cases, she out. If her hair is dyed all kind of burgundy and blue and any of that piercing that they have in the lips and in the ears and in the nose, she out. Japanese guys don't want those women. Now, they might hang out with them, but they're not going to settle with them. It's highly unlikely, unless he's in that type of lifestyle that she might be in, with all the piercings and all that crazy shit. And maybe they might be in the fashion together. But even still then, he still won't get married to her. You know what I'm saying? And if she's too old, like she's, let's say, a Japanese girl that's say 35, a 35-year-old Japanese guy is not going to fuck with her like that. He might be cordial with her, but he ain't going to settle with her. I mean, if a Japanese girl at 35 want a Japanese guy, he's going to have to be 50 or better. You know, she's not, at 35, she's an old lady in Japan. But in America, she's still young. Now, she might not age well. She might hit a wall, like a lot of these girls that come over, that do. Because let's just be honest, the average Japanese girl don't age well. Most of them don't. And some do, but they're not wanted. They're not desired in Japan. But she can come over here and have access to all kinds of men that would still find her attractive at 42. But in Japan, oh, the pickings is slim. You know what I'm saying? She can come over here, and most of these girls that come over here, let's put this in the perspective. They're just average, working class Japanese girls. They come over here for work. They come over here as a student. They want more opportunities. Because where they came from, they ain't really had it like that. So don't let them fool you. They'll act like they had it going on in Japan. No, they didn't. Because Japan is a male-driven society. And they come over here, they make more money. They have access to more men. have access to more money. Over here, you know, they have their own spot, own apartment, house, whatever, a car. In Japan, that's probably not going to happen. It's very rare that you see a Japanese girl with their own apartment, own house. Mostly, Japanese girls usually have a roommate or they stay with their parents. It's very rare that you see that I've met a Japanese girls in Japan that live by themselves. Now, I've met a lot of Japanese women, and I still know a lot of them to this day. They don't live by themselves. Most of them don't, because it's very expensive to live in Japan. So, in Japan, and they don't get those opportunities like Japanese guys do. See, the roles in Japan is not the same versus being in America. See, in America, those girls can come over here and talk, express themselves, and have their own voice, and they can fight the system, even if they want to. They can get an attorney and be like, hey, I'm suing. Right? In Japan, oh, that doesn't happen. Oh, my goodness. You don't even... That's like something that doesn't happen very often. I mean, if you're going to fight the system in Japan, you're probably going to lose. And you better know somebody, or you're probably going to go to jail. I mean, that's like forbidden, fighting against the system. The prosecutors in Japan have all the leverage. They give them all the benefit of the doubt. So a lot of Japanese girls come over here, they become, you know, a lot of them identify with whites. Let me put that out there. A lot of them identify with whites. A lot of them, after a while, they might take on the identity of, identity, or I should say, the persona of somebody like Donald Trump. A lot of them do. They got that mindset. But the only problem that they have with Donald Trump is they don't like when Donald Trump speaks it. They don't like when he expresses it. Because in Japan, they're good at hiding stuff. You're not supposed to talk about a lot of things in Japan because people get uncomfortable. Which brings me back to my point. If a Japanese girl tries to fight against the system in Japan, people will get very uncomfortable, and they probably would not want to associate with her anymore. You know, but she can come over here, she can get an attorney, and nobody cares. They'll cut her a check, she'll go about her business because the money is already there. These big companies have money in the budget, so there's nothing really to fight. The attorney that you hire already has the relationship with the other attorneys and judges and district attorney. So there's nothing to fight, really. The relationship is already established. So all they do is just cut you a check. The attorney get a certain percentage and you get a certain percentage and you go about your business. Nobody that you know that's Japanese really cares. Or they might not even know. Because living in America is so big. And Japan is it's not a very big country. So she has the option of doing that when she comes over here. And she can come up with any other evil scheme outside of her job to earn extra money, and no one has to know about it. You know what I'm saying? In Japan, you can't do that. You know, in America, a Japanese girl can stay in New York City, party, wild out, get ran through by all kinds of guys. And once she get older, she can move down south to a place like Atlanta or Charlotte or Memphis or Miami and start a brand new life. You can't do that in Japan. Because everywhere in Japan, it's the same shit. Everybody doing the same shit. There's only one state, one land. I mean, it's a different way of living in Japan. Plus, there's nobody to look over her shoulder. There's no pressure living here in America. No one, her parents doesn't live here. So she can basically do whatever she wants, really. And plus, a lot of the Japanese girls really want to get with white guys, but the odds are against it. But they'll try, and most of them get used. They get ran through, and then they'll try to get with the rest of us, blacks, Latinos, or whatever or whatnot, and then that might not work out, and they usually end up going back to Japan. And some of these women are gonna end up being deported. They usually end up being deported because a lot of them are not gonna get married. A lot of them not gonna. They might be here. They might stay here for 10, 15 years, right? And they have no investments, no house, nothing taxable at all. And then they get deported. And they try to figure out why, because immigration doesn't tell you why you're being deported. You know what I'm saying? They just say, hey, you're not getting the visa for what, you know what I'm saying? That's it. But the reason why a lot of them get deported because they haven't really established themselves. They haven't really done anything. All they done is just work a job for 10, 15 years. 10, 15, sometimes 20 years. Well, I know a Japanese girl got deported. And she was living here for 30 years. She's not married. No kids. All she has is a job and a house. That's it. No investments. No nothing. All she has is a job, a house, and a car. Nothing taxable except for a house that's worth anything. And she's been here for 30 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? She wanted to, and she's 55. She wanted to get with a white guy. Shit didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens is they'll work these corporate jobs like most of the women, Japanese girls do when they come over here. And, within those circles, it's a lot of white people. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of white people in corporate circles. That's pretty much the majority. And a lot of these Japanese girls, they want to get in. So they're willing to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? They'll do whatever they have to do as long as they can get away with it. Right? And they just get used and abused by white males and white women. Because a lot of white folks know that you coming from Japan, you really don't know what the fuck going on over here. And by the time she figures out what's really going on, it's too late now. She already got ran through. And a lot of these women are in the closet that come over here from Japan. And just that by itself, my goodness, that probably would be hard to hide in Japan. Because you got to think about it. These women are very strategic when they come over here. When they come over here, they think about a lot of things ahead of time. And they are always wondering how their parents or their friends would think. So just having some sexual relations with the same sex, that would probably have their parents pass. Their mothers probably would pass the fuck out. Yeah, but see, in America they can get away with that shit because mostly none of their friends and family are over here. They'll just meet a couple people over here or whatever or whatnot. They might know some people that came over here from Japan or whatever, but they're not that close with these people. They don't see the value of friendships. I don't really think they can really care about family so much. They're not really close with their family and friends like that. I mean, what friendship is to me is something a little bit different to the average Japanese girl. The average Japanese girl will uh, eat, go to dinner, eat, drink. Uh, might help you get a job, or hang out during the holidays. That's the extent of the relationship right there. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna hear from her every week, or probably not even every month. You're not gonna hear from her very often until it's time to meet up the next time to have a good time or whatever. But y'all not gonna build anything together. Y'all not gonna share money together. Y'all not gonna spend money together. Y'all not gonna build anything together. Because a lot of Japanese women have that mentality. I got mine, you get yours. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these women really don't have friends. They don't really see the value of friendships. At least not in America. See, just like I said, a lot of the Japanese people that come to America are just average working class people. The best Japanese women are in Japan. And they probably never thought about coming over here because they're living pretty well. They're established. They don't really have to go anywhere. They might travel abroad or whatever. But if you could communicate with the cream of the crop Japanese girls, they would tell you that they don't want to move to America. They live a great life. They got found the guy that they want. They got kids. They're living well. They're established in the community, in their city, in their town, or whatever. And, they probably make tons of money as well. And that's another thing, that a lot of these women that come to America, what you're going to find is they're not from Tokyo. That's another myth. Everyone thinks that the majority of people live in Tokyo. That's absolutely false. The majority of people don't live in Tokyo. Majority of people cannot afford to live in Tokyo because it's a very expensive place. Most of these women that come over here from Japan, they're from small towns. Like, when I say small towns, I'm talking like the town is like out there in the woods by itself. You know what I'm saying? They're not even from an area where a military base is. No, they're from these towns where it's so fucking small. You know what I'm saying? It's like a town of maybe 10, 20,000 people. Or probably less than 50,000 people in most cases. They're from a town where everybody knows each other. That's the majority of people that come over here. That's where they're coming from. They're not coming from Tokyo. They're not coming from Osaka. They're not coming from Yokohama. They're not coming from Yokosuka. They're not coming from Sapporo. They're not coming from any of these big towns, these big cities. They're coming from small towns where they're working class people, and they came over here for better opportunity, because the word gets around that if you come to America, you have a leg up in society, and you get free shit, free unearned benefits. So you come over here, you get a job with a company that's partly owned or majority owned by Japanese people, and they'll get your job. You have a good position, and you meet some other Japanese people that's been in the area for a while, and they'll show you around, get your apartment, get your car if you would like, and you just take it from there, right? Now, that's a lot compared, that in itself, what I just said is a lot compared to living in Japan for a Japanese woman. Because the average Japanese woman don't have it like that. They really don't. They're not really living like that. They're not rolling like that. So whenever you see a Japanese girl with a good, decent job position, or with a car, or with her own spot, without a roommate, just know she came a long way. Because she ain't had it like that when she was in Japan. But she can come over here and act like, like it's not a big deal. Because, a lot of them feel like they'll say something like, they'll make it seem like they didn't have no help. They'll make it seem like, hey, I came over here, I work hard, and blah, 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 and all the bullshit, right? Bullshit! You're the reason why you got that job with that company that's majority owned by Japanese people is because you're Japanese. It ain't had nothing to do with you being smart or hard working or none of that bullshit. The reason why you got a scholarship as a student to come over here is because you were Japanese. But you can't tell them that shit. They make it seem like, oh, I worked so hard. I think it's an ego thing too. They just have to feel like they done something that was so amazing, that was so different from the average Japanese person, or the average person, especially people that live here. But, I think it's an ego thing because, like, for me, for example, most of the jobs I got because I'm ex-military. Point blank. I mean, I knew it, so I don't walk around acting like, hey, I got the job because I was all qualified and all this bullshit. No. Bitch, you got the job because you were Japanese. You know what I'm saying? But you can't tell them this, and they'll get very uncomfortable if you were to start talking about how they got over here and how things came about for them, and how all opportunities they got about. They'll get very uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Because in Japan, everybody is basically doing the same thing. And a lot of shit that a lot of Japanese people do in America, that shit will be looked down upon in Japan. That people will not respect how a lot of Japanese girls act over here. And they would not be desired one bit. Because Japanese guys, they set the bar high. And a lot of these girls come over here because they know they can't compete with a lot of the girls in Japan. Now, they can do their thing over here because it's not a whole lot of Japanese girls in America compared to being in Japan. You know what I'm saying? It's a numbers game, and they know it. So that's why they go elsewhere, because the best looking women ain't in America when it comes to Japanese girls. The best looking Japanese girls don't come to America. Not at all. They're not the cream of the crop. They're just everyday, average, working class Japanese girls that were looking for opportunities. And they came over here, and some of them tried to make the best of the opportunities, and it works out for some of them. But large majority of them, it don't. And a lot of them go back, and they bring over a fresh new batch of Japanese girls every day in America. So, Japanese girls have more freedom in America at the end of the day. They can come over here, do what they want, when they want, with who they want, however they want. And there's no consequences. Their parents is not going to be asking them, hey, what's going on? None of that shit. Because they're not here. And a lot of Japanese girls, they know this shit. But they might not admit it to you. So if you like what you heard, check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.